The front door clicked open, and a gust of cold air rushed into the hallway. Wet leaves clung to the mat like they had traveled a long way to get there. Our dog, Buddy, lifted his head from his bed near the radiator. His ears rose first, then his whole body followed, slow and careful, like he was listening for news. Dad stepped in with his shoulders hunched against the rain. He did not call out right away. He held something close to his chest under his jacket, keeping it warm. Mom came behind him, shaking off an umbrella. I noticed she was carrying a small travel carrier, the kind with a handle and vents. Buddy sniffed the air, then paused. His tail wagged once, then stopped, like he could not decide if this smell was friend or stranger. Dad shut the door with his foot and knelt on the mat. He unzipped his jacket just a little. A quick flash of green showed, then vanished again. Something inside shifted, light as a breath. Mom set the carrier on the floor and crouched next to Dad. She spoke softly, the way she did when a baby was asleep in the next room. "We're going to take it slow," she said. Buddy leaned in, nose working. His nails clicked on the tile as he took 2 careful steps forward. He did not bark. He just stared at Dad's jacket, then at Mom's face, searching for a clue. Dad slid his hand inside his jacket and brought out a small parrot. Not a big, loud one like at a pet store. This one looked tired and a little damp, feathers puffed up like a winter coat. Green, with a pale ring around one eye, its feet wrapped around Dad's fingers with a grip that did not shake, even though the bird's chest moved fast. Buddy froze, his mouth closed, his breathing went quiet, his tail lifted and held still. The parrot turned its head in sharp little movements, looking at everything but especially Buddy. It blinked once, slow, then leaned closer, as if trying to read the dog's thoughts. Dad kept his voice low. "This is Kiwi," he said. "We found him at the hardware store near the loading dock." Mom nodded, brushing a wet strand of hair off her cheek. "Someone reported a bird outside. The manager said it kept hopping under pallets like it was trying to hide from the rain." Buddy took another step. Then he stopped again, right at the edge of Dad's knees. He sniffed the air, then lowered his head a little, making his body smaller. I had seen him do that with shy puppies at the park. It was his way of saying, "I'm not going to rush you." Kiwi made a quiet sound. Not a word, not a scream. Just a soft, scratchy chirp like a question. Dad looked at Buddy first. "Easy," he said, not like a command, more like a promise. Buddy licked his lips once and sat down. The sound of his tail thumping started again, gentle this time, like he was trying not to make a big deal out of being happy. Mom reached for the carrier. "We can set him up in the spare room," she said. "Quiet, warm, away from Buddy until we know." The parrot's eyes followed the carrier. It shifted on Dad's hand and leaned away from it, a tiny step in the opposite direction. Dad noticed. "See that?" he murmured. "He doesn't want to go in there." Buddy's head tilted. His eyes flicked between Dad's hand and Kiwi's feet like he was watching for a fall. Mom opened the carrier door anyway, slow and careful. She held it close, making a dark, safe-looking space. Kiwi stared at it, then at the hallway, then back at Buddy. The bird's feathers puffed up again. Its breathing quickened. Buddy let out a small huff through his nose. Not a growl, more like a sigh. He stood up and took 1 step back, then lay down right there on the tile, chin on his paws. He made himself a soft, quiet shape. Kiwi stared. The bird's head moved in tiny angles like it was measuring Buddy's calmness. Then, slowly, Kiwi leaned toward Buddy instead of the carrier. Mom froze with the carrier open. "Buddy," she whispered, "stay." Buddy did not move. He just blinked slow and relaxed like he was falling asleep, but his eyes stayed on Kiwi. Dad's hand trembled just a little from holding still for so long. "I'm going to lower him," he said. "We'll see what Kiwi chooses." He lowered his hand toward the floor, inch by inch. Kiwi's toes tightened on his fingers, then loosened. The bird stepped down onto the mat, then onto the tile. It looked smaller there, closer to Buddy's big paws. Buddy stayed flat. His ears softened to the sides. His nose twitched as Kiwi took 1 careful step forward. The parrot walked like it was testing ice on a pond. 1 foot, then the other, pausing between each step. It stopped just a short distance from Buddy's nose, close enough that Buddy could have scared it with a single breath. Buddy sniffed once, barely touching the air. He did not push forward, he waited. Kiwi leaned forward instead. The bird's beak tapped Buddy's nose, quick and light, like a knock on a door. Buddy flinched for half a second, then relaxed again. His tail thumped once. He lowered his chin even more, as if to say, "You can come in." Mom's hand went to her mouth. Dad let out a breath he had been holding. Kiwi made the same soft chirp again. Then it turned its head toward the hallway, toward the kitchen, toward the living room, as if checking all the exits. Finally, it took a small step closer to Buddy and settled beside his paw, close enough to feel warmth, but not close enough to be trapped. Buddy did something that made my chest tighten. He moved one paw, slow as a clock hand, and placed it beside Kiwi, not on him, just near him, a fence without bars. Kiwi blinked, its feathers smoothed down a little, its breathing slowed. Dad stood up carefully like the floor might creak. "Okay," he whispered. "Okay, Buddy, good." Mom slowly closed the carrier door again. Her eyes were shiny in the hallway light. "Maybe he's been with a dog before," she said. "Or maybe," Dad said, looking down at Kiwi and Buddy, "he's just tired of being alone." Buddy kept still, but his eyes lifted to mine for a moment. There was a look he got sometimes when a storm was coming. Alert, watchful, ready to do his job. In the living room, the wind pushed against the window, making it rattle once. Buddy's ears perked. Kiwi's head snapped up. A sound came from outside, faint but clear, like a whistle carried on the rain. Not a bird sound, not the wind. Dad's face changed. He walked to the window and pulled the curtain back just enough to look out. Mom stayed very still. "What is it?" Dad did not answer right away. Buddy rose to his feet without a sound, standing between Kiwi and the door. Kiwi took one quick step behind Buddy's front legs, using him like a shield. Dad stared into the dark street, then turned back to us, his voice low. "Someone's out there," he said, "and I think they're looking for this bird."